So right now I'm just going to chop this one head of cauliflower into small chunks. This cauliflower head's going to be very large, so be careful when you cut it. You just really want to remove all of the green stem off of it, and then just make sure the cauliflower is in relatively small chunks so it's easier to steam. Let's see. Try cutting this in half. There we go. So I'll just trim off any large green pieces and just cut this into nice small chunks. I think one of the great things about this recipe is that it's really easy to make. You basically just chop up the cauliflower and let it go in a steamer or a colander, and then puree it, and it's basically done. Besides adding a few spices here and there, and some vegetable or chicken stock at the end. It's just very easy to assemble, and it goes with all sorts of meals. I like to eat it with chicken or sometimes fish. So it's really versatile and goes with anything. And I think a lot of people actually like it too. I know when I first heard of this recipe, I was kind of skeptical. I didn't know how a pureed cauliflower would taste, but it's very good. So have an open mind, definitely, and try this one. See, so I'll just trim these up into a little smaller chunks than they are now. So almost done. I just got to make sure everything can fit in the colander that I have, since it's relatively small. And one head of cauliflower usually makes enough for about 5 people. It really depends on how big the head of cauliflower is though. It definitely does not make as much as you think it will though. It shrinks down a lot. So I would err more on the side of having more cauliflower mash than less, because you can always save the rest for later. Okay, so right here I have a steamer, and I'll just put all of my cauliflower chunks right inside of that. I hope they all fit, since this is relatively small. So, let's see. I think it's going to work. Yep, this looks just about right. It's just high enough that I'll be able to put the lid on top. Alright. So that looks great, and now I'm just going to go over and set this right on top of my pot of water that is boiling. And so then I'll put a lid on this and allow it to steam for about 15 minutes or so, or until it gets really soft and tender. And then I will start the next part of the cauliflower mash process. So the cauliflower is finished steaming. It's really tender and just the right consistency for the next process. So first, before I start pureeing, I'm just going to add about 1/3 cup of chicken stock. If you're vegetarian, you can also use vegetable stock. This just gives it a really great flavor, and it also helps the puree process, makes it really nice and smooth. So we'll just add in a little bit. Making a mess as I do it. Okay, and as you start pureeing, if you find that it gets really chunky, you can just keep adding more until it gets the consistency that you want. And the next thing I'm going to add is just plain Greek yogurt. This is a great substitution for sour cream, and not just this recipe, but all recipes that you do. It has much more protein and a lot less fat, and I think it has just enough, or just the same amount of flavor as sour cream would. So it works as a great substitution. You can really, I like to put in a few spoonfuls, probably around a third cup. It's really up to you. So I'll just kind of plop it in. I think that the yogurt gives it a nice, really creamy texture that it wouldn't normally have. So that looks just about right. And now I will add in some Parmesan cheese. The cheese gives it a really nice flavor as well. And the amount's up to you. I just sprinkle some right over the top. You don't need a lot. So that looks good. I'll do a little sprinkle of garlic powder. I just think the garlic powder gives it a nice flavor. Just a few little taps. At the most, probably like a fourth teaspoon. You don't want it to be overpoweringly garlicky. And now I'll just season it with a little salt and pepper. That's about right. You can always add more, so taste it first and then keep adding. Oh, it's also good in this. You can also put herbs if you like. That'll give it extra flavor as well. So now I'm just going to use this immersion blender, and I'm just going to make sure using this that everything just mixes together and becomes really smooth. So I'll just pop it in and turn it on. And so my mixture is a little thick, so I'm just going to add a little more of the chicken stock to it. That looks just about right. And so then I'll just keep blending until it becomes a really nice and creamy, smooth consistency. That looks just about right. Now I'm just going to stir it, make sure everything's well incorporated, and make sure there's no giant chunks anywhere either. Okay. Oops. Here we go. So I'll just give this one last stir. Make sure all the Greek yogurt and chicken stock and all the seasonings are nice and well mixed in. And that's it. It's a really, really easy recipe. Take a look. It has just about the same look and consistency as regular mashed potatoes would. And I think they have more flavor. It's a lot healthier and makes a great side dish to any meal. And yeah, that's basically all it takes to make this recipe. Really, the hands-on time is only about 5 minutes max. So it's great when you're in a rush or you just want to prepare a really fancy yet easy side dish. And yeah, that was cauliflower mash.